What does Gia do?
Gia does, she's the house mum. She looks after her daughter.
Oh, yeah, okay, she's got a daughter.
Yeah. What am I supposed to say? Spilt the beans and said about Gia's daughter.
Am I the only one who's side-eyeing these couples? Because I understand that most people that go on Married at First Sight, it doesn't matter the country, go there. I think 80-85% go there just for clout, go there to look for fame. There is a small percentage that go there looking for marriage. And so the idea that we are now on couple number 4, and out of the 4 couples, only one couple seems to be genuine, doesn't make sense to me. How do we have a grown woman go and cry to her mummy because her husband forgot his rings and he came in late? What does she expect? It's not like she knew this man. It could be, it's a one-off. And for her to sort of kick off because he was chewing gum, why not just ask him to spit it out? And I don't get why he was chewing gum, whether it was because he was trying to freshen his breath from the alcohol, I don't get it. And then Gia and her friends, oh my God, this was a performance for them. They were auditioning for Neighbors. Because it doesn't make sense, the little sort of theatrics that took place before the wedding. I really am not here for it. And then the uncle that let out the secret. Okay, let's go. Anyway, hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 7,000 by the end of the season. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight Australia, Season 13, Episode 2. I'm very sorry I'm behind with my episodes. I completely forgot that it had started and work is a bit busy at the moment. Anyway, so we get to see Alicia and David. They're on cloud 9. They're really ecstatic. Whatever happened, then overnight they are giddy and they're happy. Well, Alicia is giddy. She is giddy. So, hey, good for them. Rachel and Stephen seem to be the more sort of couple that's genuine, in my opinion, because they seem to be there for the right reasons. And I think if I were to say which couple is likely to work, I have high hopes for them. I was expecting one of them to throw tantrums, but it seems like they were very well behaved. So they find out where they're going, and there was a bit of sadness because I think someone expected to go to the Maldives and didn't get it, and I have a feeling that the poorly matched couple are the ones that are going to get the Maldives trip. We get to meet the next couple to get married. So we meet Luke. He's 30. He's a farmer, and apparently he's recently, well, a couple of years ago, his dad was diagnosed with cancer and his dad passed away. So he really struggled with that. And he says he's a manly man. He'll fix anything, and he's hardworking. So he wants a wife who is very girly. And it's like, Elliot, step in. Anyway, he says he wants someone who doesn't take themselves seriously, someone who's positive, someone who's quietly positive, and girly. Hey, I don't get it. I really don't get it. And so he is matched with Mel, who's 28. She's a communication specialist, and she says she's looking for someone who's going to be her blue to her sort of pinkish, and she's a girly, and so she wants a manly man that will fix things around the house, that will do everything, and she wants a knight in shining armor. She sounds like a hopeless romantic. I'm a hopeless romantic, but I think she's on the bit extreme of a hopeless romantic scale. And so she wants a manly man, and she's got these ideas of what she expects her husband to be. What do I think? Do I think they're a perfect match? Initially, I thought so, but once they started getting married, things went left. So they got ready for their wedding. She had her sister and her friends come down. They've been friends since they were, I think, about 12 years old, she said. And he had his sisters come and get ready with him. And so they were really excited about this wedding. She was excited. She could hardly wait to see her husband, and she knew that her family and friends were going to see him before she did. He got in the car with his sisters to go to the wedding. Turns out production is really messy because after traveling a little bit, they asked him for the rings. He said he had forgotten the rings. He didn't know he was supposed to bring them. And then they played a little clip of production telling him that make sure you bring the rings with you. So they had to make a U-turn, run and pick up the rings, and then come back and sort of get on their way to the wedding. And I don't know whether they got married on his farm or a nearby farm, but hey, it is advertisement for his farm anyway. So we had her walk down the aisle. She got to the altar. He wasn't there, and Mel felt some type of way because she started asking, "Where's my groom? Where's my groom? Where's my groom?" She was like a little lost child. She didn't even have the audacity to greet his family, and it's like, oh my God! I know the moms greeted each other, but from that moment, you could see she's not a girly girly. She's just a little girl trapped in a grown woman's body, and she wants someone to continue to nurture her the way she's been spoiled and pampered by her family. So he then rocked up and was sort of rushing because he was so embarrassed that he had to tell him. Production was just messy because they could have kept her in the car, or they could have stopped them somewhere and asked them to wait until he walked down the aisle because nobody knew where he was. And so for him to come running down, it looked a bit tatty. I understand why she was aggrieved, but it wasn't that big a deal. So he had to come down, explain to her that he had forgotten the ring. So this is why he went back home to pick up the rings. She wasn't happy with that because she said, my husband should have been waiting. And it's like, buddy, you've just met this guy at the altar. You can't have requirements for him. You should have told the experts that this is what you want, and they would have tried to do that for you. Production are going to try and give you sort of some sort of twists and turns. That way people are interested in your story. He can't just be standing there. You walk down, you kiss, and that's it. So, hey, it is what it is. You have to take, the good and the bad. And I thought she was being a bit too extra. I really did. Even his sisters weren't happy because his sisters were there, Stephanie and Olivia, and they were sort of saying, she doesn't seem happy. She's not even smiling. And it's like, I don't get the big deal. She then started saying her vows. He was chewing on gum. She wasn't happy that he was chewing on gum. And it's like, well, maybe just tell him. So he had to spit out the gum when he had to say his vows. So he gave it to his sister. His sister just ran up and picked and took it. And she was upset. Oh, why didn't he swallow it? Oh, buddy, but it's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's one thing if he had put it in his pocket, then you say, oh, that's messy. Or if he had thrown it on the floor. Leave him alone. His sister's taking it. She's happy to take it. That's it. Stand in front of him, say your vows, or else turn around and go home. No one is forcing you to get married. I didn't like that scenario. I really didn't. I thought it was very childlike, and her tantrums were unnecessary. Anyway, they went ahead, said their vows, and then kissed each other on the cheek. I'm going to have hope, and hopefully she will turn around, because I remember I've seen couples, people like Dion and Greg. Dion wasn't really feeling her husband, and yet now they're happily married and they're now living in Portugal. So I hope she turns this thing around, because this is not a good look for her. We then meet the next couple. It's Scott. Scott is a business owner. Apparently, he owns 3 businesses. His granddad worked very hard to set up the family, so he is trying to do the same. He's trying to work hard to sort of set up his family. And he said he wakes up at 4 o'clock to work out every day, and by 6 o'clock he's at work, and he's working out. He's working very hard to sort of make sure everything is done, and then he goes to bed at 8 o'clock. And it's like, oh my god, for me, 8 o'clock is midday. Anyway. He wants someone who's, he wants a hot girl. He struggled with lack of sex in his previous relationship. He's got a high sex drive, so he wants someone who's on par with him. And so for me, he's sort of giving Elliot vibes, but his words are not matching Elliot vibes. So I hope he's not as bad as he comes across or as he presents. And sadly for him, he was matched with Gia. I think he should have been matched with Mel. In my opinion, I think he should have been matched with Mel, because I think he would have had more patience and understanding for Mel. I'm not sure if the farmer is going to be the guy for her. So he was matched with Gia. Gia is the girl who had an issue with back at the hen do. So, oh my god, she is. Anyway, let me not say anything negative. Gia is 35. She's a disability support worker. Given the fact that that's the job that she does, one would expect different from her. Really, she says she's all plastic. It seems her lips have been done, her boobs have been done, everything else has been done. She was bullied very badly in school all the way till high school, and I think because of that, this is why she's had a lot of cosmetic surgery. She says, she didn't have her first boyfriend until she was 20. Oh, okay. And then she's got a child, a 12-year-old daughter. And so she wants a manly man. She wants an alpha male. She wants someone who's trustworthy, ambitious. And, she is a dedicated mom. So she wants someone to sort of come and fill in the void between her and her daughter and be that presence. Do I think they make a good match? No. I think he's going to walk out on her. I am willing to put money down that if there is a couple that is going to sort of split and end up with somebody else, this is the couple. I think Gia and, her husband, Scott, are going to be the couple that do that. I can foresee that in their future. Anyway, You have Gia getting ready for the wedding. Her friends come down. Her friends were there just to audition for Neighbors because she had a friend, a female friend, Brooke, and a guy friend, William. They were there for the theatrics. They were there for the drama. She is there for the drama. She's out to get clout and fame. And so they all seemed like it because the friends walked in screaming and shouting. She was saying they're intoxicated, and then they got to her. She threw a tantrum, and then the friends had to walk out. And then, the guy friend William started throwing a fit. This is not my first time to be with a bridezilla, this, that, and the other. And it's like, buddy, it's not that deep. It really is not that deep. Can we slow it down? You don't need to be the star of the moment. I get what Gia was saying, this is my moment. But at the same time, they were the gift that keeps giving, the gift that production likes. The friends were really that messy and toxic. Eventually, they made up. They got in the car because initially they had been kicked out of the car. Apparently, William is the what is the groom of whatever, the guy of honor or something like that. And then they got married at the beach. She wasn't happy because she was all dressed up. Her dress, I loved the top. The bottom, I didn't like it because they were married on the beach. Even the parents, as they walked to their sitting, were complaining that they should have told us and we wouldn't have worn shoes. And then for her to come with this thigh-high slit and be flashing everyone doesn't make sense. I'm surprised her mom didn't tell her that cover yourself. Everyone can see your knickers. We could all see her knickers as she walked down the aisle. And it's like, this is tacky. It really is tacky. For her to start swearing and throwing all F-bombs, I didn't understand why. You had this family sort of saying, oh, he doesn't like someone who swears. And so it was really sad to see that she kept swearing up a storm and she thought she was doing a good thing. And it's like, girl, it's not a good look. It really is not a good look. It really is tacky and it's really sad. So I don't get it and I don't understand why you're doing this. Anyway, we then had the receptions after the vows. So with the receptions, it was it was very awkward, especially for Luke and Mel. Mel, I think if she had her way, she would have sent outside the venue because of how far apart she was sitting from her husband and how she was making these awkward faces every time he tried to speak to her. And then he offered her, or he suggested for her to go and sit with his sisters, and she refused. And so she eventually went to her mom. Her mom was able to pacify her and just say, oh, give it time, don't take it that badly, allow him to prove himself, don't judge him on first impressions. And it's like, your daughter needs healing. She needs to be weaned off you, her mom, before she can consider marrying anyone else. Do I see them working? It's going to be hard work for her husband. I really think it's going to be hard work for Luke. He's going to need to summon all the patience he has in order to make that relationship work, because this girl looks like she wants someone to just be her daddy and just spoil and pamper her. And I don't know. I am not willing to sort of bet anything to say that this marriage is going to work. I want it to work for them, but I don't have high hopes. I don't have high hopes. So I can't wait to see what happens with that hot mess. We then had Gia get to her reception with her husband, Scott, and that was something else as well because she was saying she doesn't want Scott to find out that she has a kid. She wants to get to know him first, and then later on in the day, she'll tell him about her daughter. But at the moment, she just wants to get to know him, and she had told her family that please don't say anything, including her friends. So they sat down at the table, and as they were speaking, her friends started asking questions, and William had to ask, do you have any children? And Gia was side-eyeing him because she was saying, if he is asking, my husband that, my husband is going to ask me, do you have kids? And I really don't want to sort of discuss this here. I want to do it in private. And it's like, nah, production is going to push for them to say it. They are going to push for them to say it. The families got along very well. And so they were really very comfortable and at peace. And then sadly, Uncle John got so comfortable that he let the secret out because he told mom and dad that, oh, she's got a child. She's got a 12-year-old daughter. She's a mom. It sounds like she's a stay-at-home mom or something like that. And as soon as he let it out, he then felt bad and he apologized and then he tried to retract it, but it was too late. And it was now questionable that why is he retracting it? Why have people not been told to say anything? Because everyone was saying we were told not to say it. In the end, you had her pull, Scott for a chat and just explain to him that this is the situation. I have a child. And so I can't wait to see what happens with that. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 1. Bye, everyone.